Beautiful. Very nice to see so many people here on a computer on a beautiful Sunday. I'm not sure where everyone is calling in from, but I assume the weather is pretty good where you are. So I really do appreciate you guys jumping on this call. All right, we'll get straight into it because I kind of have a lot of information to cover because, as you all know, habits are very complex. When I started writing this webinar, I had so much content that I wanted to give you guys, and I only had an hour. So I've tried to wean it down to the most important things that I consider that have helped me personally, and hopefully they are aspects of what I've been through over the last 3 years that are going to help you the most as well. Now, habits are pretty much everything we do. Our lives are the sum total of all the little habits that we have on a day-to-day basis. Every little thing we do, whether we drink Coke or water, whether we exercise or sit on the couch, whether we turn up early to work or we turn up late. Every little thing we do has like a compounding effect. It radiates through every aspect of our lives, and it happens over a period of time. It's not just what you do one day. It's not just this one thing that you did one time. It's what you've done every single day over that year. If you exercise like crazy for a month, that's awesome. But if you don't maintain it over a year, it's going to dwindle and you're going to end up back where you were. So it's all about the little things that you're doing every day. I cannot stress that enough. Now, what we're going to do first off is we're going to start with a little bit of a meditation, just because I kind of want to get us all into, I can see that, you know, we've all just jumped on here on a Sunday and it's very easy to get distracted and not pay attention. Now, when we meditate, we're able to focus our mind towards what it is that we want to concentrate on. We think between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot. Now, if we can stop them, get rid of the noise going on outside of us, we can then focus our energy and our thought power towards what it is that we're trying to achieve. So I want you guys to all just get yourself nice and comfortable, stretch it out a little bit, roll your shoulders back, whatever it is you need to do. Don't worry, we're not going to be doing the breathing thing this time, so you don't have to worry about where your arms are. I mean, you can do it if you really want to during it, but I'm not going to be prompting you, so yeah. All right, so just get yourself nice and comfortable. Relax yourself. Before you close your eyes, I want you to just think about your breathing for a second. Just concentrate on your breathing, just going in and out. It's important to do this because then you start realizing that meditation and concentration on your breath is controlled a lot by what's going on outside of you. When you focus on your breathing while you still got your eyes open, you can start noticing just how easily you are distracted. All right, we're going to close our eyes now. Shut down our senses a little bit and we're going to go inwards. Just focus on the breath going in. We're going to do a few rounds of breathing that's needed to lower our heart rate and get a consistency going. So we're going to do 4 seconds breathing in, 4 seconds holding, and 6 seconds out. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just let your breath relax for a second. Let any tension out of your body that you may have been holding from concentrating on the counting. Try and remain as still as you possibly can. Staying still focuses on our ability to control our physical movements, our impulses. All right, we're going to do 2 more rounds of the breathing. So On 3, in for 4. 1, 2, 3, in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, we're here to discuss habits, and from this state, where we're in a relaxed mode of being, I want you to think about what habits you've been indulging in over the last 24 hours. I don't want you to assign good or bad, just observe. I'm not here to determine whether anything's good or bad, we're just here to observe. Did you go for a walk? Did you eat too much junk food? Did you move around? Did you read? Again, there's no judgment. You're just observing like a scientist might observe an experiment. If you feel yourself getting a little bit tense about it or flustered, just focus on an in breath and an out breath, and then refocus. Now I want you to focus in on one of the habits, one of the things that you've done in the last 24 hours. I want you to analyze how often you've been doing that over the last week. This is just a little bit of reflection. Again, there's no judgment. Notice how thinking about this thing is making you feel. Allow any thoughts to come up, but don't try and engage in them too much. Just let them be there. All right, we're going to do 2 more rounds of breathing before we come back. So we're going to go in for 4 in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, when you're ready, I want you to just open your eyes slowly and come back. Now, there may have been some thoughts that you came up about that habit, or there may have been some feelings that came up around the habit, and that's completely normal. And it's just interesting to notice what it is that we're doing on a daily basis and on a weekly basis is making us feel. Because as we know, it is the way that we feel that controls our actions to a large degree. And we could be stuck in that thought, feeling, action cycle that we've talked about on previous calls. I think everyone here has been through that information with me, who's been on one of the calls beforehand. All right, now we're going to get into some habit work. So, sorry, my voice went a little bit like that after a meditation. It might have been a bit aggressive, but I'm sure it woke you up a bit. All right, so this time what we're going to do is, I hope you've got a pen and paper. I think everyone here is an avid writer. or has done it before, so they know that. Yep, I can see that, Bindi. Excellent. All right, beautiful. What we're going to do now is we're just going to observe how hard it is to, even though we know thoughts about something, how hard it is to actually do it. Now, there's a lot of things that we know how to do, but just because we know how to do something doesn't mean we're going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to write our name with our opposite hand. Now, you all know, look, none of you have doubted that you can do this. You've all just had the same expression. Oh, I know how to do this, but I haven't done it before. It's going to be awkward. It's going to feel weird. Now, if you're ambidextrous, what I want you to do is write from your name backwards from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Like you'd be looking at it in a mirror. Now, for some people that might be easy, for some people it might be hard. But every single one of us knew how to do that. But this is an example of how hard it is to break habits when we're not constantly doing it. If every single one of you was writing with your right hand or your left hand, whichever one is the opposite, consistently every day, you'd be able to do it. It's the same with music. It's learning an instrument. It's about putting in the work, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Now, you can know as much as you want about all this stuff, but there's a combination of knowing and doing. And what I like to think about in terms of this is massive versus passive. Now, passive, you need a combination of both. Passive is gathering the information. Massive is doing something with it. You can gather all the information you want. You can do all the exercises. But if there's not consistent actions that you're doing that you can get a feedback loop from, because it's the thoughts, feelings, actions that cause a new result that we get that create the new feedback loop. To learn a new song, you have to sit, you can learn as much as you want about music, but you eventually have to sit down and play the song. An example of passive information could be when you want to buy a car. You can do all the research you want, but it has to lead to a massive action. Otherwise, all that information is just wasted. All you've done is gathered more information and wasted your time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to think about a situation in our life that we want to improve. Now, it has to be something that is exciting, that is big. Because one of the things with habits is we are only motivated by our wants and what's necessary. We're not going to change something that we don't really want, that's not really necessary for us to move forward in life. So I want you to write down maybe a situation that you're in right now, but I want you to write the situation that you want it better. I want you to write down what it is that you're trying to create. That is exciting. It could be a goal. It could be something that you're working towards right now that requires you to change a bit, indulge into new actions, develop some personality traits. Seeing a few faces come back up. All right. So now what I want you to do is I want you to look at that situation that you're trying to create. And I want you to write down I want you to write 3 positive habits that you have on one side underneath it and 3 negative habits that you have on the other side that are taking you away from that thing. This exercise is good to do often just because it brings into your conscious awareness what it is that you're actually doing. So it gives you a chance to reaffirm the things you're doing that are positive. And be like, oh yeah, that's good. That's going towards where I want it to be. And to notice what it is that you're actually doing that is hindering you. Now, the positive habits are great because you want to notice them. But what I want you to do is have a look at the negative habits that you've got. And I want you to pick one of them that you'd like to change, that would really help you get towards this new situation that you're wanting. Just pick one. I know it can be difficult to pick one sometimes because there's a lot of things that we want to change all at once. But habits are changed when you pick one at a time and work on it. If you try and change too many things at once, nothing generally happens because it's way too much. All right, so what I want you to do now is have a look at that habit that you've picked. Now, there's a law of opposites, which means that everything has an opposite. There's an up to a down. There's an in to an out. There's a hot to a cold. That's that negative habit that you've got, that you've circled, that you selected there. There is an opposite to it. What is the opposite of that habit? What is it that you could do instead of that habit? If it's watching Netflix, it could be, instead of watching Netflix, I am reading. It could be scrolling on Instagram. Instead of scrolling on Instagram, I could be networking for my business. Now, generally speaking, it has to be something that you can do in replacement of that habit. If it's, I'm spending way too much time with my friends, the opposite would be not spending as much time with my friends doing something else, working on myself. Now, hopefully you've got an opposite there. Now, that means that, does anyone have anything that they'd like to say at this point? Like, has everyone got something that they've identified, a positive habit there? Yep.
I'll share.
Yeah, go for it, Sam.
Hey, Dave, and everyone. So one of my bad habits that I have is getting caught up in what other people think, especially when I'm, for example, posting stuff on social media. So what I've found here with finding the opposite is, instead of focusing on what others think, I should be focusing on the people I'm helping and the people who need what I have to offer. So that's kind of what I've found from this.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's a beautiful opposite.
It's kind of more of a thought habit than I guess a physical habit.
Well, I mean, our thoughts are expressed in our actions eventually. Yeah. So if you're thinking that, oh, I don't want to post this because I'm worried about what people think, generally you're not going to post it. But if you're thinking about, hey, if I post this, it could help someone, the chances of doing it are a lot higher. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Great share.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take that habit that we've got there. Now, every habit or group of habits or action has what I like to call, well, what is called macro and micro. So for every macro habit, there are micro habits that support it. So for instance, going to the gym in the morning is not just you go to the gym. It's you put your gym clothes beside your bed before you go into bed. You have a protein shake in the fridge ready to go when you get home. You have a workout planned. You have a time set, alarms. These are all little habits that surround them, like they're micro habits that support the big habit. If you don't have all those little things, your chances of doing the big habit just aren't great. You need all these little things to support the big thing. This is why changing one little habit at a time really does bolster your chances of success. So I want you to write down, you've got your macro habit, you've got the big thing that you want to be doing there. What are all the little things that relate around that you can do? Like Sam was talking about, posting more and thinking more about from other people's perspective. What are some of the little things he can do? Maybe he could reach out to friends more often. Maybe he could be writing more, like focusing on the content to make sure he's putting out the best content he can on his shares. It's never usually the big thing. It's always the little things that support that big thing that make the difference. If I didn't have the comfy running shoes I have, I would most likely not be running. It would hurt. If I didn't have my armband that I have for putting my phone in, I'd have to hold it. That is another habit that I've developed, where I put my phone in there so I've got my phone so I can track it. Tracking my results really motivates me, helps me see how far I've been. These are all little things that we do around these habits. Preparing drinks for when you're on a webinar, that's a little habit that helps you get through it, Bindi. One of the biggest problems we have is that we try and change this massive element without working on the little things around it. This is why New Year's resolutions fail. People say, I'm going to run, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But they're just thinking of 3 major things. They're not thinking of the 30 little things that they have to do that support them. If it's going to the gym, it'll be like meal prepping. For me with running, I have to have my supplements. After I go for a run, I need those BCAAs, I need that magnesium powder, the L-glutamine, the protein powder. It aids my recovery to make sure that I feel better afterwards. All right. Now, did anyone get some surprising, I don't know, takeaways from that? See, everyone's thinking pretty hard. This must be a really good exercise. Well done, me.
I'll share mine. Mine's a really simple one. It's just putting, like, I leave a mess wherever I go. So just putting things away, I think, as I leave things and they spread and then they multiply. So I think I need to just deal with things, like get into the habit of just, this is there, put it right back right afterwards. I don't know, hopefully. I can't break it down, and I don't know if I can break it down any further.
Well, with something like that, it will be clothes, it will be spices, it will be dishes, it will be giving yourself time before, like saying, I'm not allowed to leave this room until everything's back where it was. It could even be starting with one drawer at a time of organization.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
That helps.
Does anyone else have any questions or anything that came up that they'd like to hash out? Is it hash out or hatch out? Hash out. No, we're all good. All right, beautiful. Now, hopefully you're kind of starting to see just how important all the little things are. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through my presentation, which I do now. I've adjusted it slightly again this week to be about habits. And I'm going to try and go through it as quickly as possible because I didn't think that we'd spend as much time there, but that's okay. All right. Share. So I have this habit of like talking out loud what I'm doing. So I'll just like share screen. All right, beautiful. There we go. Now everyone can see it, yeah? My screen? Yep, beautiful. All right. Let's get you guys out of the way. All right, cool. I'm gonna have to minimize you guys. So if something goes wrong or something's happening, or you have a question, you're just gonna have to speak up because I cannot see you guys anymore. which is a shame because, you know, I love seeing all your beautiful faces here, but yes. If I can figure it out. There we go. All right, sweet. All right, so how to successfully change habits with a better way coaching. That is me. Now, why is it so important to be able to change habits? It's a good question because a lot of people get stuck in this, oh, what's the point of doing this little thing? It's not going to make a difference. Now, the reason that that's happened, like your life is a total sum of your habits to date. So up until now, all the little things that you've been doing every day, every year, week after week, they have shaped where you've gotten to right now. Now, you might have had something change 3 years ago or a year ago or 6 months ago, and now you're doing something different and your life has gone on a different trajectory. But our results compound over time. So every time you change a positive habit, like you change a habit, so you go in, it actually changes the trajectory of your life in the smallest way. For instance, drinking Coke and then choosing to drink water. Now, one day that doesn't make that much difference. But over like a year, that makes a massive difference. Same with exercise, same with working habits, turning up on time. Anything little that you do, it compounds over time. And our life is, it's the total sum of our habits to date. Every good habit has a knock-on effect, the same as every bad habit does. So whenever you develop a good habit, it actually improves other things. If you start drinking water instead of Coke, you start becoming healthier, you get more energy. If you have a negative thing, like where maybe you start smoking or something, you start losing money. You start losing your health and it goes bad. Now, our daily habits determine how well we do in life. It's not the one big thing you do, but all the little things you do consistently that make up your life. I kind of covered that already. It's about how many times you do something good towards the result you want compared to something bad that takes away from it. We need to have something that we're shooting at. Now, our habits are like this. And when our goal is up here, if we go like this, we miss the mark, we don't end up being happy. When we've set the mark up here and our goals and our habits start aligning, we start slowly increasing our trajectory, every little habit at a time, all the way up until we meet where it is that we want to be. It's all about consistency, about doing the same habits over and over again. Now, your habits control how productive you are, what you think about situations, whether you are on time or not. That's a basic one, but a lot of people have this, you can tell that they're always late. They're always going to be late. They turn up on time, one time, here and there, when it's something really, really important, but for the majority of it, their habitual way of being is that they're late. It affects your health, both mental and physical. Now, that's an important one because mental health is a daily practice. It's not, oh, I'm going to go on a retreat once a month. It's about every day having those thoughts, controlling them, meditating, choosing what it is that you want to focus your attention on. If you have too many days in a row where you don't do that, it goes down. I think we've all experienced that at some point. Physical health controls who comes in and who goes out of your life. That's very important. When you develop positive habits, better people come into your life. Well, not better, but people who are more in line with that. When I started going to the gym, I started meeting people at the gym who were healthy, like health conscious. I started posting about it. Friends on Instagram started connecting with me, talking about workouts. When you develop a negative habit, like for instance, smoking, you start hanging out with all the smokers. If you go to, what is it, like the RSL and you sit there on the pokies and all that kind of stuff, you're going to meet other people who are doing that. That means that those people then come into your life. So your habits control who comes in, who goes out, your friendship circles, your work, like what work's like, your relationships, your income, everything. Now, we're going to go through the stick man because that's important to kind of grasp the concept in as many different ways as possible because we've been through it a few times, but it's important to know that it's not just your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and the result. There's many different facets to it, and there's many different angles. So the more you go through it, the more it makes sense, the more you can see it in other people, and you can see it in yourself. Our habits are an expression of what's going on in the mind. So to be able to change our habits, we need to know how our mind works. This is very important, guys. If we just try and change our behavior by just changing something that we're doing, eventually it burns out. We need to know how to program our mind to do it automatically without us forcing ourselves to do it. So the way that it works is we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind and our body. Now, I've been through this before, so I'm not going to explain too much more. Our conscious mind is our educated mind. It's our thinking mind. It has the ability to accept or reject ideas. It is hooked up to the world via our senses, which is see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. A lot of the time we're looking at, if we look at other people, we can tell what's going on in their mind. We can see their habits. We can see that they're running late. They always run late. We can see that consciously we're aware of what's going on, and we can accept or reject that idea based on that fact. We can see they're late. Our conscious mind says that person's late. Now, in our conscious mind, we've got our mental faculties, and they are so important for changing a habit. They're so important. If we're not using them correctly, then we end up creating more of what we don't want. Reason, our ability to take information and reason with it. You need to know why it is that you're doing what it is that you're doing, what it is that you want to get, and your reasons for doing it, and being able to justify it. Make it a necessity. Reasoning with an idea of like the habit that you've got there. If you can reason with it and come up with as many different reasons why that is a good thing to do, then you're bolstering the thought power and the thoughts around that. Because thoughts are like a train, one follows the other. It just continues onwards. When you think a good thought, another one comes up, and it just keeps going. So using your mental muscles in this way is very helpful. Perception, our ability to see from another place or perspective. A lot of the time we kind of look at our habits and go, oh, it's not going to matter because of this. But if we look at it from a different perspective, from someone else's viewpoint, we can see, actually, that's really important. How would someone else go about doing this? How is the person who has the result that I want, who's doing the thing that I want to be doing, how are they looking at it? What are their thoughts about it? That's someone else's perspective. Memory, our ability to remember information. It's so important because we need to remember what it is that we're trying to do, why we're trying to do it, when we're going to be doing it, when it's important for us to really show up. Thinking about it and remembering the information, the thoughts that are in line with that new result that you want is crucial. Now, your will, self-discipline, and ability to focus. Your will power is like a battery. It has a limited life. If you use too much of it on one thing, it burns out and then you give way to the old. Your ability to focus on one thing to the exclusion of all other things is really important. And it's something that you can, these are all mental muscles. It's something you can develop. Willpower you can develop with meditation. You can develop it with setting yourself one little goal that you do every day. My willpower is bolstered every time I go for a run and it hurts and I'm tired and I say, no, I'm not going to stop until I get to the end. That builds my willpower because the whole time I'm kind of running and I'm thinking, okay, I can't stop till I get to the end. I can't stop till I get to the end. And when I get to the end and I stop, I go, I didn't stop until I got to the end. My willpower is building when I do that. Intuition, that's our ability to, it's like our sixth sense. It's, if we ask ourselves the question, should I be doing this? There's an answer straight away. When we listen to that, that's the thing that kind of guides our path in the direction that we want to be going. When you look at the thing that you want to change, you can look at it and go, yep, that's definitely going to help me. That means that you're following the right path. And when we're following the right path, we're in line with who it is that we are. Imagination, our ability to create. You need to know what this new habit's going to look like in your world. I had this thing with when I was smoking, when I used to go to work, I could see myself, as soon as I got there, sitting down, lighting up a smoke. I could see that. I had to sit there and imagine, what would it look like if I didn't do that? Okay, it would look like I walk in, put my food in there, clock on and got to work. I used my imagination to imagine that scene, to see it playing out, to build the belief that it was true. Now, our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. It has no ability to accept or no ability to reject the information that's coming in from our conscious mind. It's where our beliefs and it's where our habits and behavior are stored. So that bottom part, the subconscious mind, you can also refer to that as your conditioning or your programming. Conscious mind, only responsible for 2.5% of your behavior. Crazy, I know. Subconscious mind, your programming, it's just running all the time. It's responsible for 95 to 98% of your behavior. It's where your programming lies. And it's estimated to be 30,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. Now, our beliefs, our behaviors, all that is built when we are kids. Our religion, what it is that we believe. We've seen people in our lives do actions over and over again, and we've developed that. That's why we're so much like our parents in so many different ways. We have so many different beliefs of our parents. Now, if we don't, that's because what happened was at some stage there was something that came into our awareness, like maybe from a friend, maybe from a family friend, maybe a teacher. And we believed that more so than what our parents were doing. We could see that there was more truth to that than what our parents were saying. So as a baby, we don't have the ability to accept or reject the information. Our program is just wide open. It's just getting formed. We can't think. When we're 6 years old, we can't say, oh, is that good or bad? Because I've read this Google article on this situation and that means that that's bad. No, it's just we accepted it. Why would someone lie to us? And whatever beliefs, biases, or the habits that people around us had, we developed. Now, habits are formed over time by our environment and what we accept to be the best way to deal with a situation. We have seen our parents in the relationships that they're in. We saw what they did. We saw the way that they used conflict resolution to get what it was that they want. We either looked at it and said that was good or bad. Some of them, it might have been with yelling, and we said, oh, that's how you solve that problem. It might have been with caring, constructive criticism or something like that, and you said, oh, that's how that people deal with that situation. Now, our beliefs are formed by telling ourselves something over and over again that it is true. When we change what we believe, we change our habitual behavior. So this is where using our mental muscles, our perception, and thinking outside about, okay, what it is that I want? What is the best way to get that? Starts overriding our programming. Like when we were writing that list of our habits and starting to notice all the little things that we did, when we become aware of that, that's a chance for us to focus in on that. Form the belief by telling ourselves over and over again, if I do this, this is going to be good. This is going to lead me where I want to be. It's that focus on that one thing over time that causes a new belief. We think thoughts, which is us what we were doing when we were writing down those things. We were thinking, we were using that 2 to 5% of our mind to think about what it was that we want. Those thoughts create a feeling. You guys probably felt a little bit different. You felt like a vibration shift. Oh, okay, if I do this, there's that little bit of a feeling inside of you. Hang on, this could create something new. And those feelings create emotions, which cause us to act. When we act, we get a result. Whether it's good or bad, we get a result. People think, oh yeah, I did that habit for like 1 day, so that was good. But then the next 5 days they do something that was the opposite, that's bad. And they don't realize that what's happening is they're reaffirming it to themselves. They've got the new action once, and they're like, okay, it doesn't matter, I can just keep doing what it is that I want. And then what happens is that new result that they were getting fades, and then they go back to the old result that they had. So if you want to create a new result, it's also subject to conditions, circumstances, and then the environment that you find yourself in. It's not always easy to do just bang like that. You can't, it's not just, okay, I'm just going to continuously think this over and over again. There are things outside that you need to deal with in different ways. Like, for instance, the people that you're hanging out with. It's really hard to think differently and express it around the same people who are supporting the habits that you have right now. It's really difficult. If you're around a whole bunch of smokers, it's really difficult to change from being a smoker, a non-smoker to a smoker, a smoker to a non-smoker. It's very difficult. If you don't want to drink as much and you're hanging around with a lot of people who drink it all the time, it's very difficult. When we are trying to form new habits, we do need to gravitate towards the people who are doing those kind of things. For instance, at work, I had to sit in the lunchroom, not outside with everyone who was smoking. I couldn't go out there. I had to sit in the lunchroom. I had to change my environment. Now, the culture at our work is very important as well, because if everyone at work is working harder and you move into a new thing, your thoughts are like, you're seeing the result, everyone's working harder. You think, I've got to work harder. Over and over again, every day you're thinking that. But if your work culture has a bad culture and you're a hard worker and you move into that situation, suddenly you'll start saying, oh, no one's working hard and everyone's getting away with it. All right, maybe I'm going to do that. It controls everything. Like the amount of money we are earning, changing unexpectedly, that can also change what we do as our habits. So we can cancel our gym membership because we can't afford it anymore. We can stop buying the food because the situational circumstances change. Now, even when our situational circumstances change, we are in control, whether we're thinking positive thoughts or negative thoughts about it. And our actions are going to dictate what happens from that. If we have positive thoughts about this new situation, it can be you've moved into a workplace that doesn't have the best attitude. Your positive thought could be, I'm going to make this place better. When you have the new thought, create a new feeling, create a new emotion, create a new action, you create that new result. Now, the whole point of this is the thinking part. We're trying to use our conscious muscles to create this new result that we want. So what is that new thought that you want to impress? We use our mental muscles. We've got them all there. We use them to think about this new result that we want, to create these new thoughts. Because there are only two ways to change permanent behavior permanently. One is an emotional impact, which is like a smoker having a heart attack and deciding to get healthy. And the next one is constant spaced repetition, thinking the same thing over and over again through some kind of action, sitting there doing meditation on it, writing it out over and over and over again until it becomes impressed. New thought, new feeling, new result. Now, how do we use this information to change our habits? Yeah. Okay. What we do is we think about the thing that it is that we want and we bolster all the thoughts that we can around it. We think, I can do this. We look at whatever that result was. For Sam, could have been about his posting new content. I can do this. I want to do this because, and having a good reason. Doing this creates this. Thinking about what it is, using his imagination, what it could create. This moves me towards where I want to go. Thinking about where it is that you want to go and realizing this action, this new thing that you want to do is necessary. Thinking this is who I am at my core. This is me expressing what's inside of me. This is me expressing what it is that I want to do through actions. This is who I want to be. If they can do it, so can I. This will be better for my life in these ways. I feel so much happier when I do this because this person is counting on me. This is where I'm going to go no matter what. These are all thoughts that when you focus, you use those mental muscles. You hone in on the result that it is that you want, the thoughts that line up to it. This is how you change the programming in your subconscious mind. Because these thoughts become so much powerful, they become a belief that it reprograms your brain, your subconscious mind. And there's a basic law of the universe which states that, which is cause and effect. When we do something differently, we get a new effect. We are in charge of the cause. The universe is in charge of the effect. Now, we can't always tell what it is that our new action is going to create. Sometimes we'll start doing a new habit and something good will come out of it that we didn't even expect, that we didn't see because we weren't in line with it before. I mean, we could see the negative thing happening because we were experiencing it, but when we start doing the new positive thing, we might not know that it was coming. All right. Does anyone have any questions after all that? Because that was a lot of, like, honestly, habits is just like, there's so much information. It's a lot. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? No? All right. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the main reason that habits fail. So the biggest one is that people choose too many at once. Like I said before about New Year's resolutions. 2 to 5% of us, our thinking mind is able to do things that we're not programmed to do. The rest of it's all automatic. If we try and use that 2 to 5%, we will burn out in like 2 days. We will be mentally exhausted to the point where our willpower will be depleted and we'll go, oh, what's the point? That didn't work. I couldn't do it. It was too hard. So the important thing is to pick 1 or 2 things. Now, as we went through the habits that that we were talking about before that you guys were writing down, you realize that some habits are bigger than others. Like exercise, I'm going to exercise every day. That has so many little habits around it. But for instance, I want to drink water first thing in the morning. That's one time. That requires you to pour 1 glass of water, drink 1 thing. If you've got 5 little things like that, you could probably do it. So thinking about that, is the thing that I'm changing, is it too big? Is it maintainable over the next 6 months? That's the other thing. If you don't want to maintain it over 6 months, then there's no point to it because, what was that I wrote down about this? Yeah. Okay, because in that situation, you're focused on a new result, not the actual action of doing it. This is why a lot of people start exercising because they're thinking about that amazing body that they want. But then they're like, holy crap, I have to sit in the gym for an hour 3 times a week? I was not expecting that. I did not want to do that. And that's another reason that they can fail when they're trying to change a habit like that. It's important to think about this, because if you just want the result but you don't want to do the work, you are going to give up. The like suffering and the pain has to justify the means. If it doesn't, then you're toast. Now, we've got that habit that we want to change. Now, what we're going to write down or think about is, why is it necessary? There's this thing that we do only what we want to do and what's necessary. Now, for instance, when I decided to sign up for the program that I did that cost nearly $8,000, I had to make money to make the repayments. I didn't have a choice. I made it so much so that like I burnt the bridges behind me. I had to make it necessary. I had to make all my actions line up to what it was that I wanted to do. When I bought my car, there wasn't going backwards. I had to do all the things that were like I made it necessary. I made getting the money necessary. When I decided I wanted to get healthier, I made my health necessary by thinking about ultimately what it is that I want, who was depending on me, and how it was going to better my life. Now, I'm going to just share a little bit from a thing called the common denominator of success about this, because it's really making sure that the thing that you want to change is important to you will determine whether you do it or not. If it doesn't matter to you, if it doesn't matter to anyone around you, you're not going to be able to do it. So I'm just going to read out a few things about the common denominator of success. Was a speech by a guy called Albert Ian Gray ages and ages ago. He wanted to realize why certain people did certain things and why other people didn't. I realized that the secret I was trying to discover not only in what people did, but also what made them do it. The common denominator of success, the secret of success of every person who has ever been successful, lies in the fact that they form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Now, that's a really powerful thing to think about. Not all the things that you're going to want to do are going to follow your natural instincts of what you like doing. We all have to pay our taxes. No one likes to pay their taxes. But if you make a habit of doing these things that you don't want to do, you're able to get where it is that you want. Because when you have a big goal, you realize all the little things that are necessary to get there. When you're thinking about the big result that it is that you want, it's motivation to do all those little things. Now, there's an interesting part, like where he said that, you know, people say, oh, but I have a family to support and I have to make a living for myself. Isn't that enough of a purpose? No, it isn't. It isn't a sufficiently strong purpose to make you form the habit of doing the things that you don't like to do, for the very simple reason that it is easier to adjust yourselves to the hardships of a poor living than it is to adjust ourselves to the hardships of making a better one. If you doubt me, just think of all the things you are willing to go without in order to avoid doing the things that you don't like to do. Think about that. When you're going to build a new habit, there's going to be lots of things you don't want to do. But when you've got a clear image of this thing that you want and you've got all those thoughts surrounding it, that's where the motivation comes from to do them. And I love this other line, which I read all the time. It's like, every single qualification for success is acquired through habit. People form habits and habits form futures. I love that. I had that printed up on like a piece of paper that I just like carried around in my wallet for a little while. Now, what I want to do is finish off today with a bit of visualization, because being able to see this new habit play out in your world, being able to see the things that you're going to have to adapt and overcome is crucial. When you don't know what it looks like and you don't have a clear image, your chances of doing it are just not great. If you can't see how it lines up to where it is that you want to go, you're going to lose motivation. I remember when I wanted to try and beat my chronic fatigue syndrome, my thoughts were, if I get better health and healthier, I'm just going to have to work more. I didn't like my job that much at the time. It was not fun. Thinking about getting better was not a motivation for me, because I was just thinking that I have to work more. But what I started thinking about was, if I work more, what happens then? I have more money to go on holidays. I can pay the repayments on the investment property, and all those kind of things. So it didn't become about getting healthier to work more. It became about getting healthier to work more, to be able to do more other things that I wanted to do. So through this visualization, we're going to be going through the whole process of starting this new habit and just seeing where this new habit takes you in your life. Because it's not just about doing that habit to get one thing. It's about all the ways that habit and building that lifestyle is going to affect your life. All right, so what I want you to do now is get yourself nice and comfortable. Again, I don't think any of you are moved, so I'm pretty sure you're still comfortable in some way. And I am going to play some music. I do think I need to... Hang on, can I do this? No, I've got to share my screen to play the music. That's unfortunate. Oh well. All right. So I'm going to share the computer sound now. Now, can everyone hear the music coming through? Yes? Bindi, you're looking around. Can you not hear it? All right, hang on, see if I can turn it up a bit. Can you hear it now? No? Can everyone else hear the music? I can only see Michelle and Bindi, and one person saying that it's working, another one saying it's not. We're just going to have to assume that it's working. Unfortunately, Bindi, you're going to be through this without music. Okay. How did I go into that? All right, beautiful. All right, so get yourself nice and comfortable. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Let any of the information that's kind of come to you, just release it for a little bit. If you're thinking about it, just quieten some of those thoughts. Just let them go. Just notice them, but don't engage. And when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes. Now, I want you to think about the situation that you are trying to change right now. And I want you to think about the people that, if you were to change it to this new positive outlook, that it's going to affect in a positive way. It could be that someone's going to be proud of you. It could be that it's going to help someone else. It could be that it's going to inspire someone. Now let that situation kind of float around, seeing all of its positivity and seeing the people that's going to affect. want you to imagine that those people are congratulating you, that they're saying thank you. Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel the positive energy that comes from that. If you can't think of anyone, think of yourself in 2 years. And how happy you're going to be that you did this for you. Now, I want you to go through this situation as if it's happening. Go through what you would do on a normal day that you're going to be doing this habit. When would you do the habit? Who might be there? Where is the best place to do it? Allow this image to become quite clear. Focus on some of the things around you, some of the people. If you're in a certain room, notice what's outside, what the weather's like, what's on the table. Really paint this picture. What clothes are you wearing? How does your hair look? Now, I want you to, from this habit, start drifting towards what it is that you're trying to create. Don't go straight there. I want you to just, from this image, see the progress on the way. Maybe some milestones that you're not aware of, or that you are aware of, but just sit on them. If it's exercising or going to the gym, maybe it's putting on that first 2 kilos. Maybe the next step is 5 kilos and realizing that you're lifting 30% more. If it's to do with helping others, maybe your posts and your reach is increasing. The messages that you're getting from other people are increasing. Also allow anything that could be an obstacle to come in and see it. And problem solve it before it deters you. Maybe you have a setback with your lifting, where you can't go for a week. And how that's going to affect you and how you're going to overcome it. What thoughts are you going to think when the things of life that we're not expecting are thrown towards us. It's not about everything going perfectly, it's about personal growth and us adapting and changing to overcome these obstacles as they come up. With a clear image of what it is that we're going to do and how we might solve it and how we're going to respond rather than react. You see more of how this whole thing is going to play out. Now, maybe you're halfway through this, or maybe you've already got to the goal. But I want you to think about the situation that you're trying to create, this lifestyle that you're trying to create. I want you to look at it from right where it is that you want to be, and look backwards at all the little things you know you've had to overcome, the habits that you've had to form to get there. And feel proud. Imagine all the people around you that love you, celebrating with you that you've achieved what it is that you wanted to achieve. Maybe even a mentor or an idol that you really respect that you don't know personally right now is congratulating you. Know that every little thing you've done has led up to this. They're all necessary parts of the journey to get here. And in relation to how good it is to get where you've gotten, all those little sacrifices and changes were beyond worth it. They seem nothing in comparison. Now, I want you guys to start sending a little bit of love your way and a little bit of positive affirmation. I want you to know that right now, you're capable of doing these things. I want you to, from that place, be a bit of a cheerleader to yourself right now. What would you say to yourself? You could be saying, well done, you can do it. You could be saying, fuck what other people think. You've got this. The important thing is that you know that to get where it is that you want, these things are necessary because you want where it is that you want to go more than the habits that you're going to have to develop are hard. Now, I want you guys to just relax a little bit. Take a couple of screenshots of that image. And when you're ready, I want you to open your eyes and come back. All right. Thanks so much for joining me for this today, guys. I really appreciate everyone turning up, contributing with some, little tidbits and all that kind of stuff, and some smiles, some strange facial expressions. It's been awesome. Take a bit of time right now and just write down about that image that you just saw. Some of the thoughts that came up around it. If you want to change habits, bolstering the thoughts that you have around it and the actions and knowing all the little things that it's going to contribute to getting where it is that you want to go, it makes it a lot easier. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for being here. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday immensely. The weather outside is amazing. I cannot wait to get out there either. So I hope you guys are the same as me and you're going to go enjoy it. All right. Thanks heaps, guys. I'll see you guys next time.